Hey guys, it's Rodimus Primal. I am back with another video, and today I have just gotten back from Too Many Games out in Oaks, Pennsylvania. It was a 3-hour drive there, and it was a 3-hour drive back, and I have gotten myself a little haul. I have had some experiences that I'd like to share with you, and I'm sure you guys will appreciate it. So let's take a look. Consider supporting the channel on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can help us bring you more content like this.
Hello, Super Princess Aerith. It's me, Mario. Woohoo! Mamma mia! I'm here with you, Papa. He says you're number one. Woohoo! See my games.
Okay, so you can probably see right from my little snippet there that I met Charles Martinet, who was the voice of Super Mario, and that, little clip was obviously addressed to my daughter. Obviously, she's Aerith, and she absolutely adores Mario. Whenever I play, any game, she wants to see me playing Super Mario Odyssey or Super Mario 64, so the fact that I got to meet Charles Martinet is a big bonus, and it's something I'm sure she's going to appreciate. I did that on Friday. That was an absolute blast. I sat through his panel, and I've heard his interviews before. It isn't anything new. It's not like I haven't heard it before, but to some people, this is the first time that they've heard it, and I think it was really, really awesome that, he enjoys everything that, just being Mario and, voicing him throughout all of these years, and he's just an absolute delight to meet. So if you ever go to a convention where he's at, he's definitely worth your time, because he will absolutely make your day. So, but a couple of other things, I went up there with my buddy. We stayed right down the road. It was an alright small hotel or whatever. I mean, I'm obviously just pretty much giving you guys a full kind of rundown. So I went through the convention, and it was literally like a smorgasbord of everything. I mean, you can see, throughout all 3 days, I mean, there was everything from, game dealers to, people selling video games, to people selling merchandise like t-shirts or bags, or I mean, there was even some really cool artwork out there. I mean, there was box art done as a painting that you can put on your wall on vinyl. A little on the expensive side, but it was pretty cool. Someone really did something awesome. It was like a 3D art effect that had scenes from specific video games, and if you put a light on it, it really showed how 3D it was, like Link coming to the Master Sword in A Link to the Past, or when Marley and Lucas save Chrono in Chrono Trigger, or there's Kefka in Final Fantasy VI. It was just really, really cool to see all of that as I was going through the convention floor. The other thing that was really cool, there was a lot of indie games. A lot of people, are working on their own pet projects, and maybe there's a team of maybe for anywhere from one person working on a game to 20, 30 people, working on a game to put all of this stuff out. And it's really cool to see it like an alpha stage, to actually see, these games that will eventually come out if they, of course, finish development. Some of them, they're pretty much ready to come out now. And I think I might actually pick some of them up, and so the indie games themselves are just it's a really cool, thing to see. Now, on Friday night, I pretty much got to hang out with the guy who currently does the voice for Bowser, and he's just an absolute, pleasure to talk to. We probably talked to him for a good hour and a half, because this is his first convention. He's never been to a convention before, and I didn't get a photo with him, but it's something that I will never forget, is the fact that we're just pretty much just chatting about life. He's just a regular guy. He just enjoys doing what he does, and he enjoys doing the voice of that whole Bowser thing. It's just awesome. And while I was there, I got to meet Game Dave. Was pretty cool. I got to meet, had conversations with, pretty much both Game Chasers and I think I forgot it. I don't know exactly what his name is from beat 'em ups, but like I don't watch beat 'em ups and game chasers that much, but I kind of like I recognize them, so I'm like, oh hey, I know you, I know you. Nobody knows me. But when you really think about it, like a lot of us YouTubers, we're making videos all the time, and some of us don't really have time to watch everybody else's stuff, and it, it takes away from a lot of our things. I mean, I sat on, quite a few panels and things of that nature, Pat the NES Punk and, Angry Video Game Nerd. And Angry Video Game Nerd kind of like pretty much it was an eye-opener, because he's working on so many projects that he barely even has 20 minutes to watch a movie. So he watches like 20 minutes of a movie in segments. And I'm like, man, like I totally can relate to that. Like, the life of like trying to make so much content does take its toll on us, and as much as we love this stuff and try to really get involved in this stuff, it is a lot of work behind the scenes to just get you even a 15-20 minute video. But a funny story, while we were hanging out, I'm sitting there, I'm talking with the Angry Video Game Nerd, and I'm just chatting with him about like video game villains and actually movie villains in general. And, so then the conversation obviously led to me. I was just talking to Pat the NES Punk, about, how he was, certain things with life. And some dude actually spilled his drink. He was drinking a gin and tonic and just like walked in, tripped over himself, spilled his drink all over like my shoes, Pat's shoes, and some of it got on both of our clothes, and we were just kind of like looking at him like, dude, what the heck, man? And he's just like Pat kind of flipped out, and he was just like, what the heck, man? But he knew him. Apparently Pat knew who the guy was, but like he's like, oh, sorry. And I'm like, but it is a funny story. It is something to, if anybody ever meets Pat again, to take note. Also, during his panel, which I'm going to show you guys here, he actually lost the Abobo Challenge this year against somebody. No! Yeah!
My career's not for nothing.
Oh, and Pat lost, and he thought that it was the end of his career. It's just so funny. So another thing to take a look at is here what they had was like, I thought this was really cool. They had cosplay wrestling. I'm somewhat into pro wrestling. I don't really watch it as much as I used to, but it is kind of fun to sit there and watch, a bunch of guys, and obviously there was a girl dressed as Sheik, literally beating the crap out of each other for everybody who is at the convention's entertainment, and they're all dressed in video game characters. And some of the matches were kind of wonky. There was a lot of botches. Obviously, these guys, are trained in pro wrestling, but they're very, very amateur, and they botched quite a bit. And it's really funny to watch them try to perform some of the moves. Don't get me wrong, anybody tries any of that stuff at home will know you can get hurt doing that stuff. Like what is actually on a actual physical ring, you can hurt yourself. If you're not into pro wrestling, but it was something that was really fun to sit back and watch. There was also this whole like arcade area there where they had a bunch of like game consoles set up on one side where everybody's playing like different Nintendo and Genesis and Super NES and Super Famicom games, some 360 games. They had tables with like pretty much like a whole section of just people playing Overwatch and a whole section of people playing Super Smash Brothers. I don't know if it was Overwatch or if it was Fortnite. I'll be honest with you, it's really hard to keep up with some of the games, and like I pretty much enjoy retro gaming, which kind of gives me the segue to pretty much talk about my haul. What I got, today, not today, well, today, over the weekend, was quite a couple of games that I really wanted to get my hands at. Some of them I used to own, and back in the day when like FuncoLand was the big thing, you would sell your games to FuncoLand for credit and realize that you really didn't get that much money back, but you could never get those games back. And some games I really regret selling, like Mega Man 1, 2, 3, the Double Dragon games, or Godzilla or Goonies 2. Like, I've sold so many of those games off, including my NES, so I can get more like PlayStation and N64 games, and I really didn't make it out that well. And it kind of sucks, and it's like I learned the hard way. Like, I never ever ended up selling my physical copies of games after that, and I said to myself I never will. But now trying to go back and get those games again is an expensive venture. Fortunately, some games are pretty cheap, and so I ended up getting quite a few games at a decent price, and I'm actually pretty excited to actually share which games I got. So starting off the list, I got myself Goonies 2. If you guys have ever seen the movie The Goonies, you probably know, that I obviously am a kid in the 80s, so like The Goonies was like a big movie, for kids. Well, pretty much any, it was like a family-friendly movie, and they made a game for it back in Japan, and I think in the arcades as well, and they made an NES game that was Goonies 2, which is the actual sequel to it, and I enjoyed the heck out of this game growing up, so I'm happy I got this game. The other game, this game actually has a story behind it. My dad used to work for Xerox in New York City. He used to fix the copiers for a whole bunch of different places, and the company NTVIC actually, he fixed their copiers, and they found out that I was a big game player, so I ended up getting a game called Isolated Warrior, and this game right here, Rockin' Ball, for free back in the day. And I played the heck out of both games as well, and I ended up selling them to FuncoLand, so I was happy to get that game back. The other game I got was simply because, I obviously a kid in the 80s, grow up on TV shows, had to get myself Airwolf. Not really a great game, but, I'll eventually talk about more about that, another time. This game right here I got because I used to play a lot of it, and now my daughter is really into Disney stuff, and she's into like Elmo and Sesame Street, but she's also into Mickey Mouse, so obviously I got Mickey Mousecapade, and I used to actually play this game. That game is actually really fun. I was happy to get that game. Now these next two games, if you guys already know, I am a huge Transformers fan, but I'm also a pretty big Ninja Turtles fan. Ninja Turtles has a special place, for me as well. I will go into further detail when I talk and when I eventually start doing some more videos on Ninja Turtles, but I ended up getting both Turtles 1, which I at one time had, and I got myself Turtles 2, the arcade game. And of course, Turtles 2, the arcade game, you guys remember back in the day, it was a Pizza Hut thing where you can get yourself your personal pan pizza, and now this other game, I played a heck of a lot out of this game too, even though it's not really a good game. In fact, it's another one of those games that's infamously reviewed by the Angry Video Game Nerd, and that of course is The Karate Kid. I was a karate kid myself. I was bullied. I ended up taking martial arts, and so obviously, The Karate Kid was one of those things where you had to get that game. Another game that, if you guys are familiar with Final Fantasy, you guys should also know that its rival series, Dragon Quest, was known as Dragon Warrior in the US when it was first released. So the first 4 games were called Dragon Warrior, and so this is the first Dragon Warrior Dragon Quest game, and it's heavily dated. It has that King James English, but it's it's still, I still think it's a fun game, even though it's very, very tedious and very grindy, but, if you like RPGs. Now, here's this next game that I got, the last, actual NES games that I got, was something that I played a lot with a friend, and we played until we beat it, and then we played until we beat it again, and it's because it's a great 2-player game by Konami, is Jackal. You drive a Jeep, you just blow stuff up. It's a fun game. Now this last thing that I got, if you guys have been watching my Instagram, I bought this for the sheer reason, not because it's a good game. I bought this, in fact I did a live stream on it, but I do intend to eventually do a full-on review on this thing, is Transformers Convoy no Nazo. I had to pick this sucker up, just for the fact that it is a Transformers game, and it's known for being infamously bad. So I ended up getting quite a big stack of games. It was very, very, fun to go off and do so. Other folks that I met at the convention, I want to give a big shout out to RGT85. If you guys are big fans of his channel, he and I had a long conversation. He is just one of the nicest guys out there. If you can sit there and and chat with him, and he gave me a lot of advice as far as the channel is concerned, and of course I'm always still going to be doing Transformer stuff. I want to talk more stuff about like Ninja Turtles and Thundercats and Voltron, which I got more stuff coming soon down the pipeline. My next video is going to be a game review, and I am going to definitely do my next Transformers discussion video after that. And I still got like lots and lots of stuff that I've got, coming down the pipeline that I'm gotta work out the details so I can get it all planned, get those videos made to you. It takes me time to make. But I really enjoyed the convention. There were some things that I can probably say that were, on the negative side. I don't want to go into too much detail, like that it was like just a horrible convention. I did feel that like the actual panels took forever for us to be able to get in. And that was because, for whatever reason, every single one of them ran late. So if it was like the panel was supposed to start at 11 o'clock, you ended up didn't even get into the doors until 11:15. And you're like, why is this taking so long? And then the person who comes and goes to start his panel doesn't have as much time. And then the next panel's got to start, so we've all got to book out of the door so that the next panel can come in, unless you're staying for the next panel. And that's just something that the organizers, I think, had a difficult time with. I think that the staff didn't know, not knowing things ahead of time, like, hey, it's gonna cost this for an autograph with Charles Martinet, or hey, you should know that this is the thing for this, or this is the thing for that. Nobody seemed to be able to give you the information that you needed, right then and there. And I think that the staff just needed to be better informed. And I'm not trying to like downplay them. A lot of them were really trying hard to make sure that everything was done right, but it didn't seem that they had all of the information in front of them. It was just a minor nitpick. Another thing is that in the arcade, some of the arcade games, the buttons and the sticks weren't working. So like I was trying to play Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, and the roundhouse button doesn't work, so you can't perform certain combos, and you're just sitting there trying to do certain things, and some of the games are not working. And granted, some people, obviously they go to sit up and play a game, and they hog it, they'll play it like for quite a while, and then you'll sit down to play the game, and you'll lose once, and then someone's ready to push you off. You're like, are you gonna get off this thing already? And I'm like, dude, let me play my game. I'm just I'm playing. I just played. I was gonna continue once, and that was it. But I watched the person before me keep on continuing forever, and I didn't push him off, so you're gonna push me off. So people ended up doing some stuff like that. Some people were very, very pushy, and there was just some negative aspects to it. I think I enjoyed the overall convention. I enjoyed all the stuff that was there. It was a lot of fun. Would I do it again? Sure. I do want to go to New York Comic Con and RetroCon, later on this year. I'm hoping I'm able to do so, and maybe see some of you guys there. But, what did you guys think? I hope you guys enjoyed this little, tidbit of stuff that I had, with the convention. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video, and, obviously subscribe if you haven't already. Ring that bell for when, whenever I release a new video. Obviously, I'm trying to get more videos out to you guys as soon as I can. And, if you guys want to help me out, support me on Patreon. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.